Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the March AGE Open Series. We're going into the top 8. My name is Bryce Platts, and with me is a new face. What is your name, sir?
Hello, my name's Anthony Pham. I'm part of Arcane Pro Team, and I'm happy to cast the Riptide game in top 8.
Oh, is that why we have you here? Are you a
Maybe.
Riptide sympathizer, perhaps?
I did play Riptide today, and there's a reason why I guess I'm here on the desk talking, and he's over there playing top 8.
Oh, and how did your Riptide run go?
If you think about after round 3, I was 3-0.
Okay.
Yeah. I finished 3-3 today, too.
Oh,
Not bad.
no.
Yeah.
So it took a bit of a turn.
It did.
I'm so sorry to hear it. Anthony Pham is a well-known Riptide enthusiast, along with our top 8 match today, Talon Stradley. He was also AGE Players Champion last year. You probably know him more from that than the Riptide Discord discourse. But we're very happy to have him in the booth, and we're going to go ahead and preview our first top 8 match. The people have spoken. The poll is closed. Forget the team runaways, kill cam.
We do not hate them, by the way.
We do not hate them.
The people have spoken.
I don't know what was going on in the chat over there. There's no conspiracy here.
Absolutely
We don't even know who Team Runaways
Charles is my best friend.
Yeah. Who's Charles? Anyway, we're moving on into the much more exciting Riptide Katsu matchup.
Let's go. Look at the arts. Is he not just the craziest looking hero?
I was going to say, earlier on was the first time we've had the animation up ever.
Gross.
And gotten to see him like breathing green goo everywhere and
Yeah.
whatnot. Anyway, Talon Stradley, someone we've seen already on stream today. Also Nicholas Tagg, who we've seen on stream today. Both incredibly good players to have gotten to this point.
Yeah, both of them have been grinding this RTN season too. I know Nicholas has been playing a lot of different heroes. He's got Dromai, Kano in his back pocket, but Talon has been slamming this Riptide over and over. I've seen him get 9th, 10th, all this RTN season. It's finally great to see him break top 8. That's
Absolutely, and what a sweet guy to boot, right?
Yes. You got to root for him. He puts so much info into the Riptide chat on Purple Discord. He's just a Riptide fan through and through. And actually, he told me to remind everyone that Outsiders actually came out last year, 1 year to the day.
No way.
Riptide was literally born a year ago.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is fated.
This is fated.
That's amazing.
The moon is full.
That's amazing. How does it feel to be living in Talon's Riptide shadow today?
Honestly, I was supportive all the way through. I wanted to cry a couple times, but I think just the joy in seeing another Riptide do well allowed me to carry through.
And why do you want to cry? What was there? I feel like there was some sort of stakes on you playing Riptide today. There was an ulterior motive to you playing him today.
I really wish you didn't say that, Bryce. But yes, Talon actually on the podcast. He actually is the producer, I believe, the head producer for the Pitch It To Me podcast. And he challenged me to play Riptide today, and it did not go well for me. But he's here playing, so let's talk about him.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
We're very stoked to be talking about him. We'll come back to the challenge later.
Of course.
We're kicking it off. It looks like Nicholas has chosen to go first.
He does, and looks like he takes both Kodachis here. Just as a note, Katsu is playing the Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, so maybe Talon's not so much worried about the potential for a mass trigger. He's just taking these. Probably doesn't have a trap that triggers go again, so he's just waiting to see if to prevent a dishonor, maybe waiting to see what he actually throws at him.
And you are a Riptide enthusiast as well as Talon. Have you played the Riptide side of this matchup before?
I have, yes. I've played it into both ninjas, and it's very tricky. I would say Fi is definitely a lot easier because all the damage is up front, whereas Katsu has a lot of combat tricks. Riptide, I would say he wants to see ninja probably, but Katsu is definitely a lot trickier to maneuver around.
Yeah, absolutely. And when he presents like Mask of the Pouncing Lynx to you, does that make you more worried, less worried? Comfortable?
Yes, it probably makes me a lot less worried about Kodachis. I'll probably be just taking all these Kodachis. Not so much worried about the Salt the Wound because I don't really care about the draw a card trigger. I'm probably more worried about blocking correctly on the combo lines, making sure he doesn't go grab Dishonor or maybe like a blue Bonds, a blue Whelming, Descendant Gust Wave to kind of continue the combo line. So it's a little bit trickier to play around, I guess. I guess you can ignore the Kodachis for now and focus more on the attack actions.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And Talon looks like he's got a really nice turn 2 play. Here comes Command and Conquer. Very nice tempo play this early in the game, especially when, ostensibly, Nick has put a really good card into that arsenal.
What was that card? I didn't even catch it.
I didn't catch it.
Okay, sweet.
Chat,
It's
what do
probably
you
pretty
got?
good because he's stalling to block.
Yeah, exactly.
As of note, too, just as of note, you can activate Dreadbore and deny it. So Talon is choosing to keep both cards in hand and just playing the CNC. So he probably has 2 defensive cards in hand, probably 2 traps that he wants to play out here.
Cool, and looks like we already have an early block on the breaking scales. Nick, very heads-up play, just wants to make sure that he gets max value on all of these equipment.
There you go. Blocking out CNC is pretty good. Riptide hates that card, so seeing him play it is some sort of justice being done, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
Exactly. Or you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. There's the Frailty Trap right on the Kodachi. Since it had Go again, they'll get a Frailty Trap. Kodachi goes to 0. And as everyone knows, Riptide trigger, you do 1 damage.
Yes, sir. And what is that frailty token going to do to our fair Katsu?
So all the weapons that he has and attacks from Arsenal, attack action cards from Arsenal, will get -1 this turn. So Kodachis are currently hitting for 0, and whatever's in that Arsenal is going to hit for -1.
That's a big owie. And so if you're in Talon's seat, is there merit? Like, do you like this early frailty trap, or do you think he should have held out for a little bit more value?
It does depend, right? Like, if I see Mask of Momentum, I'm probably more inclined to play this frailty trap out. But seeing that they're on Mask of the Pouncing Links, maybe should have waited for a bigger attack like a Be Like Water, or maybe even a Surging Strike to use that one. Just because the Kodachis for 1 and 1 might not be worth, but maybe he has more blocking cards.
And as you
go.
alluded to, here comes Be Like Water. Talon's going to have to block 2 on this one, critically because of that frailty token. But he's rocking the Balance of Justice.
Throws it right in front. He's denying the on-hit. Let's see if Nick has any combat tricks. He does not. So yeah, so that's a typical Riptide turn right there. Just play like a trap, trigger Riptide once, maybe twice, and now he gets the crack back with 3 or 4 cards. Looks like he has 4 cards, 1 in Arsenal right here.
Do you think he can use all of them, or does Riptide sometimes have issues using a lot of cards during his turn?
It does depend on the build. This one, I know he's playing a lot of there we go. The Sikkim shot. This is going to be 4 Go Again. Talon does include some Go Again in his list. Looks like he has like Ravenous Rabble, Bolton Shot, which can get the +1 from Dreadbore. So he does have a lot of innate Go Again here. So he's definitely able to use these higher amounts card hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Dreadbore is Talon's only bow.
Yeah.
What do you think about the decision?
So I think Dreadbore is probably the best bow in Riptide, just because of the second paragraph, no D-reacts. Riptide's very prone to fatigue. So the second paragraph of Dreadbore definitely carries him and carries a lot of weight over time. And it just fits into his like mid-range playstyle very well. The other bows like Redliner and Death Dealer, they have their merits, but they definitely work better in aggro shells. Looks like he's loading. Oh, this is a very good turn here. 4 Go Again into, looks like 5 on this yellow inertia shot.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to make it so Nick cannot set up for his next turn. No Arsenal for him. Yes. It makes me wonder, though, if Nick is going to care about this on hit, because ninjas classically can just really easily use all cards in their hand in Arsenal.
They can. And the scary thing here about Riptide is the fact that you're trying to, you want to keep all your cards. He's not hitting you very hard, but say he kept all his cards here and the collapsing trap comes down. Like, this just shuts down the turn, right? So it's very difficult to kind of gauge how to play against Riptide until you've seen most of his traps. Yeah. If that last card in his hand is a Go Again trap, it could be looking pretty bad for Nick here if he takes this 5 and then decides to go to his turn, trying to out aggro him when the traps come down.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're in the Riptide seat, are you feeling happier if you're ripping cards away from Nick, or are you totally cool if he's just taking your damage and trying to send huge turns back your way?
It does depend on the traps, once again. I think if I'm higher in trap count, I'm pretty comfortable seeing that he's going to block. I have these traps to negate sort of his turn. But if I'm lower on traps, I definitely want to see those cards being pulled. Looks like Nick's taking 5 here, going to get that inertia. He says, I'm going to use all these cards. I'm not going to have an arsenal after.
Yeah, and if anybody can do it, it's going to be Katsu.
Let's do it. Let's see what he starts with. Usually it's Surging Strike that starts off the line.
In the best case
he has
scenario,
overwhelming in hand and 100 wins. He's got the discard card for the Katsu ability if it does hit.
Yes, sir. We've seen some absolutely monster turns come out of Nicholas Tagg. His last game on stream alone, he had an Art of War turn and a double Art of War turn. He also had the natural combo line, I think 2 or 3 times.
Gross.
It was really disgusting. It was unfortunately too much for our Kasai player, Joel Racinos, who, just a little bit of follow-up, he bubbled out and placed 9th. always a tough position to be in.
Yeah.
So here we go, Kodachi, and like you mentioned, Talon is just fine taking those on the chin.
Mask of Momentum's not there. These is just 1 damage for 1 pitch. I think Talon's happy to trade that every time.
And here comes a Descendant Gust Wave. This is in the red, so it'll be 3 go again.
Yes. Can be buffed by Breaking Scales, which he has already balked with, so now it's an option always. Let's see if Talon hits him with the good old no blocks move to reactions.
Yes,
He
indeed,
does.
and it's
There
a
you
take
go.
cover.
Take
Which is
cover.
really nice because, as you mentioned, Breaking Scales is not going to get Nicholas any extra value, and it's going to prevent him from activating Katsu.
Yes, and take covers is a great defense reaction to Riptide, just because when you play it from Arsenal, you get to reload because Riptide works where if you play it from hand, you get to reload. But since take cover says reload no matter what, you can replace that with a Crucible Trap, which you have to play from Arsenal. So that could be a Tripwire Trap, the Pitfall Trap, or everyone's favorite trap, the Rock Slide Trap. Looks like he's going with Bonds of Ancestry, which is on. Looks like he discarded 100 wins?
Yes, sir.
Oh, from his graveyard, banished 100 wins.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. And once again, as I mentioned before, Nick just had it in Arsenal.
There it is.
It's always a bummer when Katsus just kind of have it because then all of these really intricate blocking decisions that we've been talking about are kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
I think we did see Talon play that take cover from Arsenal and then reload something, if I'm not mistaken.
So he still has 4 cards, and he reloaded from hand. So that might be one of the Crucible Traps. Maybe it is. There it is. Yes,
there it is. Tripwire Trap.
So he's got to pay 1, or this, or there will be no on hits on this chain link. So let's see if Nick pays 1 here.
Which normally wouldn't matter, but he's still looking for that Katsu trigger.
He is. But it's blocking 4 to 4. So if Nick wants really to get this on hit through, he'd have to break Breaking Scales and give it +1.
Which may be Nick's decision to grab the 100 wins from the Bonds of Ancestry is kind of his understanding that he would have a hard time getting the Katsu trigger through. Because now I believe he's holding another 100 wins, which is going to get buffed by the previous one.
Yeah, and this is probably a matchup where Tenacity shines, where Riptide's just blocking out. If you're able to play 100 wins here, I know he has 1 in hand, maybe end with Tenacity. It could be pretty big if he does not have that big buzzsaw.
Yeah, absolutely. Based on the way Talon's playing, it's looking like it might be kind of difficult for Nicholas to ever get his Mask of the Pouncing Link trigger and the Breeze Rider Boots trigger as well.
Yeah, you're probably not going to break it on this turn. You don't have you're not controlling a Surging Strike, so you're not going to be dishonoring anybody. So if he did do it, it'd probably just be extending the combat chain. But at this point, he's probably just looking to end. He's thinking about it. Blocked with 3, so Talon has 2 cards left in hand. We know that there's 100 wins in hand. I'm not sure which color. Just reminded he did take all this damage to send back, so he's intending on using all these cards. That Inertia is not going to get any cards out of his hand.
Another red 100 wins. That means all 3 reds are out of the deck. That means if he is going to utilize Bonds of Ancestry or the Katsu trigger... Oh, he's touching the Mask of the Pouncing Links.
This is interesting.
What do you think he would find here? Like you mentioned, is this a Tenacity turn or is this a Salt the Wound turn? Perhaps?
Tenacity would be coming in for 5, which is like on rate for a mask in 5 at least. I'm not sure about Katsu. I would probably, if he has a 0 cost in hand, I would discard the Katsu and go get Winds of Eternity. Just swing for 4 and just be happy with that and save the Mask of the Pouncing Links for a Dishonor turn mayhaps.
Which, speaking of Dishonor, I mean, that's usually what our Katsus are going for, right? That Dishonor line. How devastating would that be to a Riptide to get hit by a Dishonor?
That's pretty bad for Riptide, I would say, because all the traps only block for 3 usually, except for the exception of Tripwire Trap. All of them are pretty below rate for defense reactions compared to Sink Below and Fate Foreseen, but you're getting a lot of value from the token being made and that 1 damage, because now you're getting value of 4 plus whatever tokens being made or whatever effect is going on with that trap. And then he can't reload anymore, so that could be pretty devastating. I know he runs Premeditate, and that's a key mechanic in Riptide to be able to load that attack action card into Arsenal to get the Premeditate buff.
Also kind of helps, it's like a value. It's the main value proposition of Riptide, right? For one, I'm going to take all these below rate defense reactions and gain extra value on them, thereby making them above rate. And also, I'm going to get free reloads to make it so my normally below rate arrows are going to be on rate or above rate.
And all the Crucible traps in his hand, he can no longer just play them out because he won't be able to reload off current traps that he has that he can play from hand.
Too true.
Yeah, so let's see. He does break the links. I'm wondering what he's going to grab. So he grabs the wins from the mask. So let's see. He hasn't declined the Katsu trigger yet, I don't think. So I'm not sure what that last card in his hand is. But we know that the chain's probably going to end with a 4. Shuffle all these 100 wins back if you don't block 4.
And that's really good because he found so many of his 100 wins so early, right? And these, like in our last game, we saw they closed the game out against Kasai, even though they were coming in with yellows because all the reds had already been stripped out of the deck. The fact that he would be able to put a couple more reds back in there, I mean, 0 for 4 go again is a heck of a drug.
It is, and it's a hard break point. You do still have the perch grapplers, but you probably don't want to block something that doesn't have a reel on it. He's just playing it for 4. So he has 1 card in hand still. Is he forgetting about the inertia?
That's a good question. He did just push all of his cards over to the left, classic ninja move, and the inertia token is right there. So I would hope he had seen it. Let's see. Is this a man that has seen an inertia token?
I don't see why he couldn't. There's only like 10 things on that combat chain.
He is a little out of focus, and that is to his disadvantage.
Taking 1.
Yep. Okay.
So he's going to shuffle everything back in. All the 100 wins go back in the deck. And he's acting like it's going to be an arsenal. So that is a little tough. Maybe it was a dead card anyway, and he just wanted to get the value off mass there. If that was a dead card, I probably would have just passed and been happy with the inertia there. But breaking mask for 4 there isn't great, I don't think.
Yeah, it's interesting. He must really be expecting that this game is going to go long and that Talon is going to try to fatigue him out, I would imagine.
Interesting. I don't know. It's pretty tough when the Kodachis are on there. Kodachi's a really good way to beat fatigue, so chat says that that's a sink below.
And that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, that does. I don't understand that. On the on-hit trigger, maybe I'm not seeing something that was there, but with the on-hit trigger of...
Should have discarded a Katsu, yeah.
Should have discarded a Katsu.
I see what you're saying.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we're down a mask, so that is unfortunately... the Dishonor line is going to be a little harder to pull off now against Riptide. And we're Riptide with 1 card. Let's see if it's a trap he's holding on to, or maybe Codex, one of the best 1-card hands in the game.
Yeah, it seems like it's either going to be Codex or Arsenal Pass.
Yes. I think he only has a Bolton shot in his graveyard, so I think he's only swinging for 4 if he does Codex. But let's see here. Look, maybe...
And that is sometimes kind of okay. Like we saw John Zapata do that a lot in his Azalea match. But I think like Riptide just doesn't have as much for sure damage in his deck, let's say. So maybe Talon would think about holding that back. Previously, we saw him doing some really nasty like premeditate Codex Command and Conquers.
Yeah.
So maybe that is more of what he would be holding out for.
I see. Okay, he does just Arsenal Pass. I think it was a premeditate. Yeah, give me the ball. Yeah, I don't... Let's see. This is going to be an important turn for Nick. He did just use the mask, so...
Saw an Art of War.
He's got to keep it going. He did get Art of War, but Balance of Justice would be turned on if he does draw 2 here, too.
And he is pitching the new card for Katsu, Ancestral Harmony, if I'm not mistaken. A really interesting addition to these Katsu decks. Kind of high rolly, but the people seem to think that it is the way to go. I've seen it in several Katsu decks today.
Yes.
I guess the ceiling is just so high on that card.
Let's see.
So 2 Kodachis.
2 Kodachis. I think Talon has taken every Kodachi this game.
Which makes sense.
He did fairly trap one of the Kodachis. My fault. But yes, he's just content with taking 2 every time, trading 2 resources for 2 damage. No on hits. More concern here with the attack action cards, it seems.
And oh my goodness, we're closing the chain, arsenaling and passing.
So he's probably thinking he wants to have 1 big turn rather than trying to play mid-range against Riptide. Okay, here's the load. He did trench, so he will have a battering bolt here. Okay, battering bolt for 7, not too bad. Over pitching to get those arrows out of hand. He probably wants to see more traps. This comes in for 7. He did Arsenal Art of War, so it is the battering bolt here is, or the Art of War here is safe from battering bolts.
Correct.
And I think he has all attack action cards, so he should be good unless he draws Ancestral.
Yeah, and this is kind of exactly what Talon needed. Nicholas kind of taking a second to recollect himself, set up for a massive turn, like you mentioned. But luckily, unlike some Riptide hands, Talon is able to present a considerable amount of damage despite, being given the go-ahead from Nicholas.
And battering bolt's tough, man. It traps in combination with Dreadboard, it traps defense reactions in hand because you can't play it from hand, and it's coming in for a break point, which defense reactions are good at blocking up. So now it's kind of an awkward block. If you take any damage, that sink below is going to be out of your hand, discard it, and you get -1 health too. It's pretty nasty.
Earlier on, we saw him burn a sink below out of a Bravo's hand in this exact situation.
That's where it shines, man. That's where it shines.
Absolutely. Nicholas really having a think here, though. I would have to imagine that he's kind of got the nuts. And so it's curious that he's not just kind of taking this and rolling with it. Maybe his hand's a little clunkier than I think.
Yeah, I did get to talk to both of them. Funny enough, both of them were kind of inexperienced into each other's decks. So Talon was, there's blocking for 7. That's good.
An interesting addition into this Riptide matchup.
Yeah, that is interesting. Usually you don't see stuff bumped up all the way to 7. Usually it's just battering bolt, maybe a bumped up premeditate arrow. But I wouldn't be running reinforced, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it's interesting here. He was probably really thinking about that block because it was a battering bolt.
Yeah.
He couldn't just take it. Otherwise, he would burn that reinforced line straight from his hand.
Yep.
And how sad to have to block with a red whelming gust wave. That is pretty unfortunate.
This turn seems like it's just going to be content with Kadachi. He has been doing that a lot. Talon hasn't been caring much about it.
Maybe we are going to see that fatigue Katsu that you were alluding to earlier.
Yeah, maybe it turns out that way. I think he's not running anything too crazy. It's just your standard Katsu list with some rainbow colors of the combo line sprinkled in there. But it looks like he is content with just like playing slow, grinding out this Riptide. Nick probably knows that Riptide, it is, even though Talon has been doing it well this turn, it is really tough for Riptide to use all 5 cards in his hand.
Yeah.
He's probably content with just going slow, waiting for that big turn, not overextending, keeping pitch up for pitfall just in case. He's doing it well.
Yep, absolutely. Activating Trench once again. He's going to float 1 resource here, ostensibly to be used on the Dreadbore.
How good is Trench, man? I love Trench so much.
We're getting an update on Ethan. Ethan Van Sant says he won versus Charles Dunn, and he's glad it wasn't on stream because it was a stomp.
Although we cannot confirm.
We cannot confirm.
But congratulations, potentially, to Mansant for winning that one. He's playing well today. I got to talk to him earlier in the day. He seems like he's really content with Levier right now, as he always is. So he's excited. Unfortunately, not playing next week because he's going to be working on content and doing all that good stuff. But he's broadcasting the pizza. Yeah, I'm wish him well next week. Unfortunately, he can't play with Justin. I'm definitely not getting a live feed in my ear telling me all this. Blake Flack. Ooh, that's good.
Man,
that is a
that's
really
so cool. By the way.
No, yeah, thank you. So yes, Flick Flack's really good here because with this follow-up attack, the next combo card is going to actually block for +2. Ooh, but you kind of don't want to block that.
My goodness, Talon follows up with like the one punishing card in this case,
Yes.
which, by the way, is a one of in his list. This is Virulent Touch. It can only be played from Arsenal. If Nicholas blocks with a card from hand, he's going to get a Blood Rot Pox token.
This is disgusting.
Nuts to your
And he
Flick
gets
Flack,
it into his graveyard. Now he can get it as a Codex target later in the game. It's going to be so tough when you're low. You really need to block the 4 damage, but if you block, you get a Blood Rot. So now it turns into 6 damage.
Yeah, Virulent Touch, speaking of earlier, when he only had the Bolton Shot, Virulent Touch, a much better Codex target than Red Bolton Shot.
Yeah. All right, looks like he's thinking about blocking. He does have a Whelming in hand, which does block 5, but he does get a Blood Rot here. He does have Tenacity as well in hand. If I'm thinking about it, he might just block here, be happy with the Blood Rot, and just Kadachi. Nope, takes 4.
He just takes it. He says,
all right, we're going down to 24. We're moving along this kind of weird mid-range game so far.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely traditionally expect something a little more explosive out of the Katsu, but I think Nick is like really respecting this Riptide.
Yeah, he hasn't shown Collapsing Trap yet. That's the killer, man.
Yeah.
That's the one that just destroys the turn. If you think you take 8, you think you have it, and they play Collapsing Trap, now the next 2 cards off the top of your deck, if they're not combo line pieces, your turn's over.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Nick going into this next turn, I think I saw a Tenacity in his hand. Probably not the best thing to have at the moment. It is a Kadachi enabler.
Okay. He's really thinking about it here. Nick really respecting Riptide. Looks like he's taking the matchup slow. We were talking. I was saying before we were talking at lunch, the lunch break, and he was struggling to kind of know how to play against Riptide, and they were actually talking about how they didn't know the matchup while they were literally right next to each other.
That's hilarious.
So both of them seem like they're a little green to each other's decks.
But take a look at Talon. Look how stone cold sober he looks.
Yeah.
He is in his element.
No, he knows. He knows. If he has the reaction, he's sitting pretty. He's waiting for. It's a reactive deck. So you're just sitting there. You're not wasting any time. You're just like, okay, what are you gonna throw at me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to block it out perfectly. So he's just chilling, staying focused, probably seeing whatever Nick has to throw. He's trying to cover it up.
Yeah, it's interesting. In Flesh and Blood, we kind of have a dichotomy between two types of players. One that is like super comfortable on defense. The other that just hate blocking and want to throw their entire hand at you. And this is like a quintessential matchup showcasing both of those playstyles.
Oh yeah, and he blocks overblocks the Surging Strike here. So here comes the Whelming for 2. This could be bad. If he does see an Inertia Trap here, it does turn on. It plays also around Breaking Scales, blocking for 3, and that Artivore would go to the bottom of the deck. So Inertia Trap would be back-breaking right here.
You mean Frailty Trap, right?
Inertia is the one where if it's higher than its base...
Oh, yeah, because it gets +1.
It gets
you're
+1,
right,
yes.
You're right.
Whelming does get +1.
Yep.
Higher than its base gets the Inertia. Looks like he's just blocking 2. All right, we're thinking about the Breaking Scales. Oh my god, how good of a bait would it be if he breaks Breaking Scales here and then he hits him with the Inertia? That would be absolutely disgusting.
That would be spectacular. Also, Talon's got to be, I wonder if he is thinking about the Breaking Scales. Yep, he seems to be. He's probably thinking like, I don't think this turn is going to really be changed by you drawing 1 card.
Okay, yeah. And then drawing 1 card, layer it first, and then Katsu trigger after?
There it is.
All right, let's see if it's a 0 cost.
He didn't even look at it. I think he had the opportunity to look at it first.
He did look at it.
Okay,
he
great.
did look at it.
He's pulling it back.
So he's
We'll float 1.
all right. There you go. Sweet.
That's not bad.
4 more damage. Okay.
It is not bad.
Turning Breaking Scales, 5 value is pretty good. 6 value if you count the block. So that's pretty good equipment there. Sweet, taking 4. Okay.
But yeah, I think Talon is very happy that that is the card drawn, right? Because if it was a 0 cost, that could have been turned into a Bonds of Ancestry, which would have been 2 more cards of damage.
Yeah.
Instead of just that spinning wheel kick. I think Talon's just fine with that exchange.
Yep. And like I said, we still don't see the major traps. We haven't seen Buzzsaw. We haven't seen Spike Pit. We haven't seen any of the legendary blue ones collapsing as well. So Talon taking this damage, thinks that he can return this damage back. Looks like he has 2 cards in hand and a card in arsenal. Let's see if it has some sort of go again here.
Yeah, kind of nice that those Breaking Skills are gone for Nicholas before Spike Pit Trap rears its ugly head, because that card can just end games.
Yes, and this is going to be a Codex turn, I feel. So what he's doing is he's actually loading Dreadbore to get 1 pitch out there with the yellow, because Dreadbore, you can activate it whenever you want. He's going to Trench, and then he's going to play... Oh, okay. Maybe he had 2 Pitfalls in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that definitely was a setup. Codex into Command and Conquer would have been perfect right
there.
Unfortunately, he just doesn't find it.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Pitfall Trap is also a really good card.
It is. And the Tunic is not there anymore, so this might be a Pitfall Trap for 3 damage here if Nick needs the resources to make his turn happen. He does still have that Artivore in his arsenal, and we still have Balance of Justice up from the Riptide side, Talon side, so he will get to draw if we choose Banish to draw 2 here.
Yeah, absolutely. In Balance of Justice just being such a good card because, like, he's blocked for 2 with it. He doesn't have to do anything else with it. He just waits for that Artivore, and he's going to get a free card.
This is... Okay, we're Kadachi's have worked all game. Why not this turn as well? He looks like he's going to... thinking about it. This could be a crazy turn to Collapsing Trap as well.
I think I see another Ancestral Harmony, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. There's
another Kadachi.
1 and 1 again. He's playing it slow.
We have a Whelming Gust Wave. And
is that a spinning wheel kick?
What the last one is. Yeah, it looks like a spinning wheel kick.
Okay.
Okay, so another pretty
Kadachi.
standard turn from Katsu. He's closing the chain. Okay, we're going to see if we can high roll a little bit here. He banishes it. It is a flick flack, and I guess we're seeing the
Oh,
floor of
I've
that
seen
card.
I've seen that a couple times before. Playing in Dash, I'm used to cards that should not be boosted or being hit in the banish zone, getting hit into the banish zone. I think my first in January Age Open, my first boost on that Pistol Dash deck was Unmovable or Sigil of Solace.
Oh my goodness,
that was great. That was a great feeling.
Yeah, that's devastating.
Here's 5 go again.
Yeah,
that's pretty good still because combo. Ooh. There's the tripwire. Yeah, so they did have Pitfall and Tripwire last turn. So he couldn't block it if he wanted to, but he's saving the Tripwire because he values the ability to deny the on-hit rather than do 2 more damage.
Which in this case won't matter too much. Spinning Wheel Kick is not, its combo line is not turned on. It's getting +1 just from the Ancestral Harmony. But, you know, it's still just blocking for 4. And I think that aligns with Talon's game plan just fine.
And this is very awkward, right? Like, you don't want this card in your hand to be a pitch card. It's really awkward to deny any on-hit. So now that Tripwire isn't being paid for, looks like he can't even go get Katsu.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, he's taking, looks like the damage is traded there, taking 1-1. This is just going to come in for 2.
Yeah, Tripwire Trap really showing its versatility in these matchups.
Yeah, those Crucible Traps, man. Being able to get the automatic damage from Arsenal, it's pretty good. He's just blocking out here. It looks like he's going to return with 3 cards. This could be a swing turn here. We saw him just pass last turn. That was pretty bad. Hopefully he has some sort of tempo here to help out. I know Nick's sitting on that Art of War forever now, so he's waiting for the correct combo line to go off. Talon's trying to hold back the flood of force.
Yeah, and we've only seen one of those go again traps. Talon is still, like, Riptide is one of those weird heroes because he can be on offense when he's on defense.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so the further he digs, the harder those really go wide power turns are going to be for Nicholas to pull off without taking a crud load of damage.
Here we see one of the more aggressive turns here with the Sikkim shot. Could be ending with a Codex. We haven't seen a Codex yet.
And he's got one floating, so he could go find a one-cost arrow.
One-cost arrow, probably Infecting Shot. Remorse is probably really good against Katsu here. I think we saw him draw the second Art of War.
Oh, my goodness. Could it be a double Art of War turn?
If my hand's good here, I'm inclined to take 5 here from Nicholas.
So I don't think we've seen it go into the graveyard yet, but if Talon had perfect information, what he really wants to find here is a Remorseless.
He definitely has. Look, he's looking through that graveyard. He's thinking about what he wants to block with. It's a telltale sign. I try not to do it myself, but when I have Codex, I'm looking at my graveyard. See what I can grab.
I do the opposite strategy where I just look at graveyards every single turn, most often on turns where I don't have Codex, and try to bluff it a little bit.
Nope,
that's kind of dirty, but there
maybe
it is.
See, that's why he's probably better than me. He picked up his graveyard. Nicholas like, oh, he might have Codex. Arsenal passed.
Talon playing head games.
I need to learn that. That was good.
Stone Cold Fox.
Yeah.
Steely eyed. He's bushy tailed. He's dewy lipped, and he's ready to go.
And I do like what Nick did here. He just saw 5 go again. You might have Codex. Screw it. I'm just going to take this 5, block with my Breeze Rider boots. I might use it this turn. He does have double Art of War, so we could see a really big turn here. We did just see the Buzzsaw Trap being pitched, so we know that's not going to be an issue, but Collapsing Trap is still out there in the wild.
Collapsing Trap could be so devastating on an Art of War turn, especially if it hits. So here he goes. He plays the one from
pitching
Arsenal.
a red, though. That's not what you want to see right there.
Absolutely not.
And now we see that the Dreadbore second paragraph. I love to remind everyone.
Yeah.
Dreadbore second paragraph, denying the value from that Flick Flack, now becomes a pitch card for this Art of War to turn on. And he doesn't have any remaining pitch, so looking like if he wants to play that second Art of War, he's going to commit another card. I don't know if that's worth it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Art of War is one of those interesting cards. It's such a good value proposition, but it gets diminishing returns the more times you activate it. The chance of it getting you out of a jam twice in a turn is pretty low.
Pretty low. And I know that the Tunic's going to be up next turn, so saving that Art of War for your Tunic counter could result in really big card advantage. So maybe Nick's thinking about not going in so hard here, but you just got to be careful. Inertia Trap might stop Art of War from being parked in Arsenal.
Here comes Be Like Water. Art of War critically makes it so that it comes in at a breakpoint. It'll activate Katsu on hit. Also, Nicholas will have the opportunity to change its name into a Surging Strike.
Balance of Justice showing why it is so good. Now you get to draw a card. You have 5 cards in hand now, 1 card in arsenal. This is the perfect storm to block out this Art of War turn. He's thinking about blocks.
Look at this man. Does he have a collapsing trap or no?
I don't know. I can't read him. That's probably why he's so good at Riptide. He's
so good.
2.
He blocks 2. Just
That's
kidding.
Boulder Trap.
We
It's
block
always
Boulder Trap.
there. He's going to put it on that Tunic counter.
Mm-hmm.
Take 1. Nick will take 1 because it's +1. Honestly, if I'm Nick, I'm happy that that's Boulder Trap and not Inertia Trap there. Inertia Trap making it so that you can't park that Art of War for next turn. It's going to be devastating. So it is blocking for 5 too, so you can't even pump it with Ancestral here.
Yeah, and he's holding 1 in hand, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. What is that next card in his hand? Looks like
Hard to tell.
there's no on hit from Be Like Water as well, so it's not going to be named Surging Strike. So he's just going to +1 here just to get the extra
draw.
card in hand. Yeah, probably searching and digging for the next attack.
That's never where you want to be as a Katsu player. You want that ancestral empowerment to be providing you more than 1 value, right? You want it to replace itself, but also get your hero power on hit through.
Exactly. And it blocks 3. That card is so amazing. It's been amazing since the inception of the game.
Yeah,
it's so
absolutely.
good. It replaces, like you said, it replaces itself, gets that nasty breaking point through. And nowadays with Katsu being able to tutor so many different cards from that combo line, it gets better with every set.
Which maybe what Nicholas is trying to do is find a card that allows him to play that second Art of War and then get the breakpoint through, right?
Exactly.
If he can do 1 more and he still has a 0 cost in his hand, this could turn into a crazy turn.
Looks like he's pitching the Art of War. Okay. I want to come in with Descendant Gust Wave here for 3. Okay, so looks like he's not going to be parking that Art of War. Just swinging in for 3. Kodachis do have go again as well because he did pitch Flick Flack and it is in the pitch zone, so Kodachis will be swinging for 1 and 1.
But yeah, this is the opposite of how we saw Nicholas's last game play out, where he had natural combo lines, his Art of Wars drew good things, he was activating Katsu like nobody's business. He's kind of showcasing a more clunky version of what Katsu can do.
All right, give and take. Blocking for 3 here. 3 matching 3. Looks like
still no ability to activate Katsu.
He's thinking about playing this next card. He's just going to play it out. It is Bonds. Okay. There it is. Now his turn's a little bit more online.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why he pitched Art of War now. He just really wants to get this turn going. He still does not control Surging Strike, so he looks like he's probably going to get either a Fluster Fist or something that just does damage. He does have 1 floating as well, so probably Spinning Wheel Kick. Yep.
Spinning Wheel Kick makes a lot of sense here because he's going to be able to use that remaining resource that's floating, and it'll still get buffed by Art of War, giving him max value.
There it is. And now this is coming in for 4. Talon has 3 cards left. There is no on-hit on this Bonds. So it's just going to be damage to round out this turn. But does Talon have a good answer? This is a really good turn. I didn't think it would get there, but it got there.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I mean, Talon's doing a great job of sniffing out the proper blocks. But Nick is also, getting there, forcing damage through. That's what he's got to be doing.
Sometimes they just have it, and this turn, he definitely had it. And it's funny, look at that. Yellow Descending Gust Wave, yellow Bonds of Ancestry. Katsu doesn't need the red to be threatening on the combat chain. It could just be the yellow ones.
Absolutely.
Ooh, there's another Boulder Trap.
Boulder Trap.
He does take the 1 damage, but the -1 armor doesn't matter too much. There's no more armor to block with anyway.
Very good that Nick got his early equipment value so that he could dodge the extra value Talon would get on these Boulder Traps.
Exactly. All right, so we're matching -1 counters with the Tunic counters as well, both at 2 now.
Let's see if we can get it to 3. How fun would that be?
Another Boulder Trap? That would be insane.
At that point, Nick hurts himself by blocking the Tunic, if I'm not mistaken.
Looks like he's just blocking out here.
Yeah, okay. Talon's just content to play this slow. He's detecting that this was a really powerful turn for Katsu. Now I think he's going to force him to take a step back, try to set up again.
Yeah, and I'm honestly happy on Talon's side too. I haven't drawn my best trap yet against Katsu, and if I'm just stalling out, I'm doing okay. I'm waiting for that collapsing trap. I'm waiting for that to just shut off his turn, and I'm able to swing back. Looks like he drew 2 Sink Blows.
I think he did.
Another defensive turn, it looks like.
How about this tech from Talon, the give and takes? Have you been running those in your Riptide list?
I have not, but I've spoken to him about it. It's really good against fatigue. It is just 3 damage. Similar to Virulent Touch, you don't really want to block it because you don't want to give him that value of putting the card back on top. But if you don't block it, you're just taking 3 damage, and that's 3 damage against Fatigue.
In those late stages of the game where every single life point matters, it's a really interesting proposition.
Yeah, he does run a lot of these 1-cost go again. So it's a way to enable his turn. Use the 2 floating to either Dreadbore or Dreadbore 1-cost arrow. It just rounds out his blue, using his blues very efficiently.
And here we go. Sink below number 1.
All right,
Will he
he's thinking
sink?
about sink.
He is sinking about sinking.
He's sinking a sink?
He sunk about, and he did sink.
Well, that sink below is facing the entire kitchen sink because Ancestral Empowerment gets it up to +4 here, and okay, that's it. Never mind.
I think that you have outdone my puns. Well done indeed, sir.
This is a sinking ship we're talking about here. We are going down the wrong road.
Another Ancestral Empowerment going to not actually hitting Talon's face. Talon has got to be happy seeing that.
I think he might have played it just because he might not have a good answer to, or a good card to Ancestral later anyway. So he might be just playing it to try to find something at the top. He did find CNC. That's a good card against Riptide.
However, Talon not presenting an arsenal at the moment.
It is just innately good, though. You know, it turns off all the traps. If Talon kept that sink below, it looks like he's going to be taking some damage here. By the looks of Talon, he's taking 6. All of his hand is traps.
Might be.
Yeah. CNC is good. It just is the destroyer of Riptide. It is the card I want to see the least when playing this game.
Yeah,
it is
makes a lot of sense.
Half my deck is traps, and that card turns half my deck off. So
oh no, yeah, and then Talon just arsenals pass.
Yep. So that's an indication to Nick here. He knows that there's probably a lot of defense reactions in Talon's arsenal and hand. So he's probably going to try to play a little bit more around that. He does have an Ancestral Harmony. F in the chat. True. That is the classic Riptide turn right there. You block correctly, and then CNC comes. You take 6, and you'll pass back. That's sometimes what Riptide does.
And that's why he does so well? Question mark.
I mean, he's doing well right here. Oh,
that is very true.
Oh, seeing
unfortunate.
Both Ancestral Harmonies today have just not been hidden.
That might be okay, depending on what he can put together. Is that his third flick flack?
That's not what you want to see either. Discarding the CNC when you're down this low, drawing that next turn would have been insane. With Talon being so low there, CNC could be devastating in these late game stages. Late game stage. Yes, I said that right.
Yeah, it almost makes you. I mean, if Nick had perfect information, he might very well have gone Kadachi pass.
If he was playing -IO there, he would have known. He would have known.
Yeah, exactly. And then Talon would have had to be like, okay, pass again.
Yeah,
with all of actions. Yeah.
Fair point.
Here comes Kadachi for 1 go again.
1 go. Yeah.
Still a bit of a clock on
its own. We lost the bet, Bryce. The Tunic counter has outraced the -1 counters.
Oh, devastating.
Devastating.
Hate to see it in.
If he use it, resets, we're winning again.
Yeah, he does have the 3rd boulder trap in the list.
He might have it actually because he just passed. Inertia trap. Okay. So he's not really caring about the inertia. It's just Kadachi for 1.
Not ideal on Talon's side. I mean, you don't want to be throwing traps at Kadachis usually, right?
You do not, but you're at 9 now. You got to start worrying about these Kadachis.
Yep.
And I think Nick realizes that too. He's seeing that Talon's not blocking these Kadachis, hasn't played a Frailty trap on them since that first turn. So he's just going to use 2-pitch every turn to do 2 damage. Until you see that collapsing trap, I think you just keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. In Nick showcasing his own prowess, knowing when to put the foot on the pedal and when to kind of hold back.
Okay, he does have Surging Strike and Whelming in his hand. All right, here we go. Surging Strike. This is 6? What does Ancestral Harmony say?
I believe it says it pumps
combo cards?
Yeah, he's okay. And Nick having a little laugh. He's like, I almost got away with it.
I almost got away with it, but we only have, how many viewers is that? A lot of people watching.
Did we have a lot of people watching?
I have no idea.
I didn't assume that this thing was on. I thought this was just you and I in a room talking about Flesh and Blood.
I thought so too. I thought this was just us having a good time. Oh, there's the viewer count. Okay, Nick, only 391 people watching you possibly cheat on camera, but you got it back. It only swings for 5. We're good.
Yes.
But that's really good because now Tripwire Trap comes through. stops the Katsu on hit, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know. It's coming in with whelming gust wave for 5. There we go.
5.
There we go. That's the correct one.
And here is kind of an interesting thing, though, right? Because an attack has hit. He did not activate Katsu.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a moot point because he has no cards in hand. But if he did have a card in hand, he still wouldn't be able to activate Katsu because Katsu says the first time an attack action card hits.
Honestly, you would have loved to seen either of those traps on this whelming gust wave there. Those first 2 traps, Inertia and Tripwire, but looks like he's just blocking 7 against the whelming just in case there's another Ancestral.
That's 8, isn't it? Because take cover
That's
is
8.
Yeah.
That's 8.
Which
What do we have in Arsenal? Oh, in the
oh my goodness, this is so devastating. Nick has the exact combo line in the red, by the way.
Talon only has 1 card.
Oh
he
my
blocked
goodness.
8 on the whelming gust wave.
So, oh no. So forget the fact that Ancestral Harmony banished a CNC. This is still going to be a nasty turn.
This is 5 into 4? He does have Trench. He's not dead.
Oh, that's so devastating, Talon.
This is bad. This is looking really bad. Now you can see the repercussions of blocking 3 on that Kadachi.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so sad. I think Talon was just expecting this to be a pretty innocuous setup turn. Yeah, 3 block into a Kadachi is just never something you want to be doing if you know that this is the clapback.
This is disgusting. This is why they pay Nick the big bucks. He is showing it's just give and take. All right, he's showing us what Katsu Mastery is all about. Holding the correct cards, playing the correct combo line. He's playing super slow, and now he's just bursting through with all this damage. Talon's going down to 3.
Yep, not where he wants to be. I would imagine.
Actually down to 1.
Yes, sir. It might be curtains for our fair green man in this top 8. Talon's going to keep fighting, though. If there's one thing Talon is not, it's a quitter.
Not a quitter. He is down 16-1. It's looking pretty bad. You would have loved to seen Collapsing Trap on any of these turns, but not finding it.
Or one more Frailty Trap. He's only seen the one the entire game.
This is true. This is why Riptide sometimes struggles, man. And look at that. He's taking so many Kadachis, he's running the health back up. Yeah, you really want to see your legendary traps most of the time. Like, seeing those, you can definitely blow out some games, but this looks like a tough turn of events. Now Kadachis are lethal.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't count Talon out, though. If anybody can get there, it's him.
All right, looks like
Kadachis really make that hard, though.
Yes, it looks like he does have the blue pitch here. So if I'm Nick, play around the collapsing, just start with the blue pitch, Kadachi.
Another ancestral empowerment, so he's got the Kadachis.
There it is. Here we go.
Ay, ay, ay.
Block in 3. This is looking pretty bad.
Ay, ay, ay.
Not the trench.
I believe in you, Talon.
Trench is so essential to Riptide's game plan, but at this point in the game, you just need to get 1 block out of it. You just need to survive. It's coming in for 2. Looks like he does not have the Ancestral Empowerment, so this is just going to be 2 straight up.
That would have been the moment for Collapsing Trap, if it existed.
I probably would have played on the first Kadachi if that.
Yeah?
Yep.
Respect.
But here's another 2. He has 2 cards left, so Talon could block with the last card. There's Fate Foreseen. Opt 1. Oh, no blocks, remove reactions. There we go.
Talon showcasing how genteel of a player he is. He knows exactly when he's allowed to play Fate Foreseen.
Yeah, this is tough. Like, Talon is just, I think there's 2 or 3 turns in this game where he literally just passed. That's not what you see. That's not what you want to see out of Riptide. You want to be able to block out, use these traps effectively, and be able to swing back in some sort of capacity. And that might be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
He just arsenals the last card. It's probably another Crucible trap.
It's a testament to how smart Nick is playing this, though, right? Because some of those turns where Talon was just forced to Arsenal and pass or activate Dreadbore and do something innocuous were because Nick was like, I feel like I can take a moment here, Arsenal and Art of War, and, put the impetus on you.
Yeah, this is not looking good here. He's got a full grip of 5 cards. He's Kadachi. That takes 2 cards out of the line. Here comes Be Like Water. He does have the go again. Probably Pitfall Trap or one of the Crucible Traps in Arsenal here. No blocks, move to reactions. Fate Foreseen.
Overblocking by 1.
It does seem like the Fate is foreseen here. I don't know if he can survive this turn.
I don't know if he sees it coming, man.
3 go again. There's the take cover. 1 card left. Do we see the writing on the wall here? He does have go again on it. He denies the reload, so it's not going to be a Crucible trap here. Colin just chilling back, waiting for this game to end, it looks like. He's blocked every attack so far. Takes 1, he dies.
Can Talon survive 1 more turn?
This is looking bad.
Nick having a really big think, though.
Here's another 3. You got it on the Codex.
That was the first Codex we had seen, too, isn't it?
It's such a good card in the matchup. Turns off Kodachis. Sometimes it gets -1 card to Katsu. It's so good. He didn't see any of them. There were so many turns in the game where I thought he had it. He kept 3 cards. He couldn't block. He didn't block with all his cards. I thought he was just going to Codex, but no. He just 2 or 3 times in that game, he literally just Arsenal passed.
Well,
and I think I think he might be running more Crucible traps in this matchup, which I don't know if is correct.
Maybe.
You kind of want to be able to block from your hand. Like if you have so many cards that can only block from Arsenal, you can only reload so many times. And against Katsu, you gotta kind of block. Like if you're Riptide, you gotta be able to block well. And seeing a lot of Crucible traps in hand, that's not where you want to be against Katsu.
Well, massive congratulations to our winner, Nicholas Tagg. He has showcased some really smart play in these last couple matchups, and we're very excited to see where he goes after this.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Nick.
That does mean, however, that the Green Dream is dead, and our Lurker of the Deep will have to crawl back into the hole from which he came.
Big brain play.
How do you feel about it?
Wait, there's no LL points.
No LL points.
Never mind. We just suck then.
He'll get there.
We'll be back though.
He'll get there.
Mysterio will be his set.
More after this. We may have an interview, we may not, but we will have more action in the top 8 of the March AGE Open.